Hi, my name is Sherry Myers, and thanks for joining me here for Throw Your Tooth on the Roof, Tooth Traditions from Around the World. I'm a dental hygienist, and I work here at Northampton Community College on the third floor, just one floor below the Cops and Kids Reading Room. And this book is really important to me. I'm glad you could come because it's going to allow us to look all over the world at what children do with their baby teeth when their baby teeth come out and before they get their adult teeth. So as a hygienist, I was really interested to find out, does a tooth fairy visit all over the world, or what happens in other parts as far as cultures and traditions? This book is written by Selby Beeler and illustrated by Brian Karras. Has this ever happened to you? You find a loose tooth in your mouth. Yikes! You can wiggle it with your finger. You can push it back and forth with your tongue, and then one day it falls out. There you are with your old baby tooth in your hand with a big hole in your mouth. It happens to everyone. Everyone all over the world. Look, my tooth fell out, my tooth fell out. But what happens next? What in the world do you do with your tooth? So we're going to look at different regions of the world. In North America, in the United States, I put my tooth under my pillow while I'm sound asleep. The tooth fairy will come into my room, take my tooth, and leave me some money in its place. In Canada, at night I put my tooth under my pillow and I wait for the tooth fairy. In Mexico, when I go to sleep, I leave my tooth in a box on the bedside table. I hope that El Raton, the magic mouse, will take my tooth and bring me some money. He leaves more money for a front tooth. In Native American culture, the Yupik, my mother wraps my tooth in food, like meat or bread. And then I feed it to a female dog, and I say, replace this tooth with a better one. The Yellowknife Dene, my mother or my grandmother takes my tooth and puts it in a tree. And then my family dances around it, and this makes certain that my new tooth will grow in as straight as a tree. With the Navajo, my mother saves my tooth until my mouth stops hurting. Then we take my tooth to the southeast, away from our house, and we bury the tooth on the east side of a healthy young sagebrush, rabbit brush, or a pinyon tree, because we believe that east is the direction associated with childhood. We're going to travel to Central America now in the Caribbean. In Costa Rica, my mother takes my tooth and has it plated with gold and made into an earring for me to wear. In the Dominican Republic, I throw my tooth on the roof of my house so a mouse can come take it away and bring me a better one. Sometimes I get money when I do this. In El Salvador, I put my tooth under my pillow. My father says that during the night a rabbit will come. It will take my tooth and leave me some money. In Guatemala, I put my tooth under my pillow and wait for El Raton to leave me money. In Haiti, I throw my tooth on the roof and I say, rat, 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 I give you a beautiful tooth. Send me back an old tooth. I say the opposite of what I really mean to trick the crafty rat into giving me what I really want. In Jamaica, at night after my tooth falls out, the rolling calf comes rattling chains to take me and my tooth away. I put my tooth in a tin can and I shake it hard. The noise keeps the rolling calf away. As we travel to South America, in Argentina, we learned that I will put my tooth in a glass of water. During the night, a little mouse called El Ratoncito will come and drink all of the water, take my tooth, and leave me some coins or candy in the empty glass. In Brazil, my mother tells me to throw my tooth outside and say this poem. Lovely birds, dear birds, take away this tooth of mine and bring another one to me. The birds only take clean teeth, so I must brush my teeth every day. I also live in Brazil, but I throw my tooth out of the window onto the roof and say, St. John, take this rotten tooth and give me a healthy one. In Colombia, I put my tooth under my pillow and wait for a mouse called El Raton Miguelito to take my tooth and leave money in its place. In Venezuela, I put my tooth under my pillow And while I'm asleep, a mouse will take the tooth and bring me some coins. And in Chile, I give my tooth to my mother. She will have it made into a charm, set in gold or silver so I can wear it as a necklace or an earring. As we travel to Africa, in the mid and southern regions, and Cameroon, I throw my tooth over the roof, shouting, "Take this bad tooth and bring me a new one." Then I hop around my house on one foot, and everyone laughs. In Botswana, I throw my tooth on the roof and say, Mr. Moon, bring me a new tooth." And in Malay, I throw my tooth in the chicken coop, and the next day I might find a big fat hen in the coop, and my mother will make chicken soup. In Benin, if I lose an upper tooth, I throw it on the roof. If I lose a lower tooth, I dig a hole and I bury it in the ground. My grandmother says that if a lizard sees my tooth, a new one will not grow, so I'm careful to keep it hidden until it's buried. In Nigeria, I hold my tooth in my fist with 8 stones to make a total of 9. A girl will hold 6 stones and her tooth will make 7. Next, I close my eyes and I say my name out loud and count to the number in my fist and say, "Oh, I want my tooth back." And then I throw them and run away. It's very important to run away. In Uganda, I leave my tooth behind a pot along the path the rats use. The next day, my tooth will be gone and I will find money in that spot. Some rats are poorer than others. And in South Africa, I leave my tooth in a slipper in my room. Tonight, a mouse will come and take my tooth and leave me a gift. My sister is afraid of the mice, so she left her slipper outside her door. The mouse left her a present anyway. In North Africa and the Middle East, in Egypt, I wrap my tooth in some cotton or a tissue and take it outside. I say, shining sun, take this buffalo's tooth and bring me a bride's tooth." Then I throw the tooth high up at the eye of the sun. The Arabic word for bride is arousa, which also means a candy or a sweet. In Morocco, I put my tooth under my pillow when I go to bed. The next morning I must rise with the sun and throw my tooth toward the sun, while I say, "I give you a donkey's tooth, and I ask you to replace it with a gazelle's tooth. Otherwise, I might get a donkey teeth." In Libya, I throw my tooth at the sun and say, "Bring me a new tooth." My father tells me that I have a bright smile because my teeth come from the sun. In Mauritania, my parents tell me to wrap my tooth in a small piece of cloth and throw it as hard as I can onto the roof of the house. If I get up very early the next morning, I will find a rooster on the roof, and I can keep him. And if I don't awake early enough, I won't find the rooster. In Lebanon, I throw my tooth into the sea or a field, and I say, oh sun, take the mouse's tooth and give me a gold tooth." In Oman, I face the sun and throw my tooth as far as I can, while I say, "O mighty sun, take this tooth, play with it, and do not forget to bring it back." In Turkey, if my parents want me to grow up to graduate from school, they might bury my tooth in the garden of the university. If they hope I will become a doctor, they will bury it in the garden of a hospital. Or they will bury it in a soccer field so I can be a good soccer player. Throughout Europe, there are many tooth customs, and in Greece, I throw my tooth on the roof for good luck and make a wish so that my teeth will grow up strong and healthy. In Denmark, I put my tooth under my pillow at night and wait for the tooth fairy, called tandfeen, to take my tooth and leave me some money. In England, when I go to sleep, I put my tooth under my pillow and wait for the tooth fairy to come. In France, I put my tooth under my pillow. A mouse, La Petite Souris, will come to take it and leave a gift for me. In Germany, I don't do anything special with my tooth. In Sweden, I put my tooth in a glass of water. In the morning, my tooth will be gone and a coin will be in the glass. And in Spain, I tuck my tooth under my pillow. While I'm asleep, the little mouse called Ratoncito Perez will take my tooth and leave me money or candy in return. As we go through Eastern Europe and North and Central Asia, In Georgia, I throw my tooth high up on the roof of my house, and I say, "Mouse, mouse, take away my spoiled tooth and send me back a strong, healthy one." In Kazakhstan, I drop my tooth under the bathtub and say, "Mouse, mouse, bring me a new tooth, please. Bring me a new tooth, please." We don't have any mice in our apartment, but I do it anyway. In Kyrgyzstan, I roll my tooth in bread and I give it to an animal, preferably to a mouse, because they have healthy, sharp, white teeth that grow quickly. If I feed it to a dog, I might get ugly yellow dog teeth. In Moldova, I throw my tooth on the roof of the house and say, "Crow, crow, coming from the mill. I am giving you a milk tooth. Now you give me a bone one." In Russia, my mother said to put my tooth in a mouse hole in the ground. In Tajikistan, I sow my teeth in the fields and they grow up to be warriors. In Lithuania, I keep my tooth as a keepsake. In Southern Asia, in Afghanistan, I drop my tooth inside a mouse hole, saying, "Take my dirty old tooth and give me your small clean one instead." In Bangladesh, I throw my tooth in a mouse or rat hole and hope that the mice will give me back strong white teeth like theirs. I usually get a present when I do this. In India, I throw my tooth on the roof and ask the sparrow to bring me a new one. In Nepal, my mother and father say that if a crow or a bird sees or eats my tooth, a new one won't come. I bury my tooth in the garden and cover it with soil. Or I might cover the tooth with cow dung or mud and throw it on the roof so it will be hidden. In Pakistan, I wrap my tooth in cotton. At sunset, I go to the river and throw my tooth in the water. It will bring me good luck. If no river is nearby, I will throw it in a good site like a garden. In Sri Lanka, I close my eyes and say, "Squirrel, squirrel, take this tooth and give me a new one." Then I throw the tooth on the roof and run into the house without looking. As we travel to Southeast Asia, in Malaysia, I bury my tooth because it is part of my body. It needs to be returned to the earth. In Cambodia, if I lose a lower tooth, I throw it on the roof. If I lose an upper tooth, I put it under the bed. My parents tell me that the new tooth will grow toward the old one and come in straight. In Indonesia, I throw my tooth backwards over the roof. My mother says I must throw it very straight so that my new tooth will grow in straight. In the Philippines, I hide my tooth in a special place and make a wish. A year later, if I can still find my tooth, I can make another wish. In Singapore, I throw my tooth straight up to the roof so that my new teeth will also grow straight up. I throw my upper teeth straight down to the ground. If I throw them slanted, my new tooth might grow in slanted. In Thailand, my sisters and brothers tell me to throw my lower teeth on the roof and put my upper tooth under my bed or in the ground. And in Vietnam, I throw my lower tooth on the roof and throw my upper tooth under the bed. In East Asia, in China, I put my upper tooth at the foot of my bed and the bottom tooth on the roof. My parents say that it will make my new tooth grow in faster. I put my upper tooth on the ground and my lower tooth on the roof. A new tooth will be pulled in the opposite direction and will grow in quickly. In Japan, if I lose an upper tooth, I throw it in the dirt. If I lose a lower tooth, I throw it on the roof. My new tooth will grow toward the old one and will come in straight. In Korea, I throw my tooth on the roof saying, "Blackbird, blackbird, my old tooth I give to you. Bring me a new tooth." And in Taiwan, I throw my tooth on the roof. In Australia and New Zealand, the Aboriginal Australians will say that my family helps me to put my tooth inside the shoot of a pandanus plant so that when the pandanus grows into a tree, my tooth will grow too. There are spirits in the pandanus leaves that will look after me while my tooth is growing. In Australia, I put my tooth under my pillow and wait for the tooth fairy to take my tooth and bring me some money. In New Zealand, in Maori, I put my tooth under my pillow. My parents will collect the tooth and give me a small gift. Then they will throw my tooth into the mighty river, the Waikato. My tribe is named after the river. So teeth fall out every day, all around the world. What will you do with yours? Thanks for joining me for Throw Your Tooth on the Roof, Tooth Traditions from Around the World.